Jennings. They've got a great office in Hamburg, in Howell, Manchester, and Brooklyn. You can call 810-231-0200. 810-231-0200. Losing a loved one affects the entire family. Think ahead. Plan a little bit. That's all.
Funeral planning is not something you want to do in a rush.
No, absolutely
You just
not.
want some time to think about it, go home, modify the plan a little bit if you want,
It's called planning for a reason. And you can go to BorekJennings.com, B-O-R-E-K, Jennings, Jennings.com, 810-231-0200. Okay, let's take a quick call from Tim in Westland who wants to talk the border wall before we move into Roger Stone. Tim, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for taking the call. One of you just recently listed off like all the things that the illegals do when they cross the border, taking jobs, whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You failed to mention the most important thing they do when they do come across.
Go ahead.
They vote.
Oh, yeah, absolutely
Now,
they do.
The Secretary of State down in Texas just found 95,000 legal green card holders who were registered to vote and found that 56,000 of them have voted in multiple elections. Now, green card holders are not supposed to be able to vote. There was another gentleman, green card holder, legitimate visitor, in North Carolina, who they found voted 3 different times in 3 different precincts in the last election.
Yeah. Well, obviously he's a Democrat.
Yeah.
Obviously.
He didn't vote Republican.
The other one, then you mentioned, the numbers come up, so then California gets another couple of representatives in the House, and it's just
They already
ridiculous.
have more than they should have.
Yeah. By probably 10.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And I believe you are misreading Article 2, Section 3. The president, in being able to convene both houses, or either of them, as it says, is for them to do their job on, say, emergency legislation.
Right.
He cannot call them to say, you're going to sit here and you're going to listen to me. He doesn't have that right.
Is there anything else we did wrong today?
I think you're doing all right besides those 2 major areas.
Yeah, well, I would say if he's getting ready to call a national emergency, then that is the occasion that he can convene both houses, and he can work it in, call it, I don't care if he calls it the State of the Union or emergency declaration or whatever he wants. He can call both houses.
Here's the State of the Union. We're going to build a wall. Yeah. That's the State
But
of the Union.
he does not have the right to go stand in front of them and speak.
He does. He can convene them both. On occasion, it's in black and white. We can argue about it all day, but it says can convene
he's
them.
probably right, but not in particular for the State of the Union.
Yes, I'll agree with that. But this is a national emergency, so he can convene them and say, hey, I don't care if you call it a State of the Union or not. Call them together and talk about the wall. End of story. Well, great call.
That would be for each house. That would be for each house to work on the legislation.
Yeah, very good. All right,
thanks,
good
Tim.
call, Tim.
Have a good day.
You too. All right, let's take a call. Well, before we take Jimmy, who's calling in about Roger Stone, I want to get a couple tracks in here because they busted down his door yesterday morning, Roger Stone, and arrested, showed up with vehicles. And how did CNN get there before the FBI showed up?
Do you know how? Are you asking?
I'm asking, yeah.
Okay, because the CNN guy was a friend of Comey's.
Well,
He's FBI connected.
Okay. So, once again, we have Department of Justice breaking the law, is my book. If they're leaking that kind of information and sending a camera crew out from CNN to watch them bust into Roger Stone's house, and all they had to do was call Roger Stone and they would have taken everything. They could have had trucks outside already, said, we're coming in, you want to open the door? But no, they got to make a big play out of it and have CNN cover it.
I posted this morning, you might be living in a fascist state if they send 27 armed people to arrest a 65-year-old man, but don't send any help to Benghazi.
Yes. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, isn't that amazing? So now they've got Roger Stone in here. Derek, you got track 1 ready? This is Alan Dershowitz, who I really respect. He's a liberal Democrat, but you know what? He's on the right side, common sense, and honest. That was the key word there. Go ahead and start with Alan Dershowitz's take on the indictment of Roger Stone and his arrest.
Based on what your understanding so far? Well, I've read the indictment, and it's a typical Mueller indictment. Very, very heavy on stories involving collusion and WikiLeaks. But the indictment itself all relates to obstruction of justice, tampering of witnesses. In other words, crimes that occurred as a result of the investigation. This is typical of Mueller. He has found almost no crimes that occurred before he was appointed special counsel. He was appointed special counsel to uncover crimes that had already occurred. He has virtually failed in that respect in every regard. Almost all of his crimes that he's indicted people for are crimes that resulted from his investigation. False statements, tampering with witnesses, obstruction of justice. I went through today the list of all the people who had been indicted by Mueller, and it was very hard to find any American who had been charged with any crime that occurred before Mueller was appointed special counsel. So what's happened here is these are crimes that are generated by the investigation. It doesn't make them any less criminal, but it really means that there's been a failure to uncover the basic crimes for which he was appointed. Namely, before he was appointed, was there illegal collusion, illegal conspiracy with Russia? We don't find that. In this indictment, he tells stories about alleged collusion, stories about WikiLeaks, but that's not the basis for the indictment. The basis for the indictment are all events that occurred after he was appointed. That's very significant.
Okay, right?
Yeah.
So there would have been no indictments had there been no investigation. Is he setting people up on purpose to just go ahead and find something to squeeze them, right?
Imagine charting crime and then seeing, you chart crime and find out it's a direct cause of Mueller.
Right. Let's take a call from Jimmy in Manchester. Jimmy, you want to talk Roger Stone? Go ahead.
Hey, how's it going today?
Good, man. How are you?
Not too bad. The tree of liberty is nourished by the blood of patriots and tyrants.
I'm wrong again.
And there you go.
I'm wrong again. That's
Boy,
3 times, man.
Three times
Glad we
today.
got callers.
Let's just shut it down.
Yeah. Okay, see if by...
You can't forget
Derek-
about the tyrants. And what's going on is patriots are being locked up. And Roger Stone's got 7 indictments against him. He's guilty of none of that. What he is guilty of is not rolling over to them. And they hate that.
Yep.
I like watching Roger Stone. I think it's wonderful
That's what I thought
watching
yesterday.
him.
So I'm sitting at lunch yesterday, and I see him and his lawyer come out in the throng of press, and Roger Stone thrives on this stuff. He's probably got 3 books coming out, and you can't buy this kind of publicity for Roger Stone. So he'll sit in jail.
His next
do whatever
radio
you want
show.
to do. He's going to be sucking it up and making money on this. I got an email from Joanne in Ohio who says, "Did you know that Roger Stone has a tattoo of Nixon on his back?" And I'm like, "What? Really?" I don't know if that's true, Joanne, but
I think I heard that on Tucker.
really? Well, he came out at one point. He did the Nixon thing yesterday.
Well, he was a Nixon associate, yeah.
Well, there you go. Then maybe he's got Tricky Dick on his back. I don't know. That's kind of weird, man. But
he's going more
Whatever.
G. Gordon Liddy than he's going John Dean.
What else you got, Jimmy?
Well, Roger is a political trickster. He's guilty of a lot of things, not any of the things that they've indicted him for. This is absolutely a spectacle, and one of the things that he is being accused of is witness tampering and all this other stuff. Well, what about CNN being there? Talk about jury tampering.
Oh, yeah.
Who's guilty of that?
Yeah.
This is getting ridiculous, out of hand, and Trump needs to step in with the DOJ and stop this. This is an absolute abuse of the American people, and they're doing it. It's not just to him. They're doing it to all kinds of people all over this country.
Yeah.
Well, you've seen the meme that says, whatever, it says, it shows Trump, and he says, they're not after me, they're after you. I'm just in their way.
Yeah. And that's true, because imagine what they're doing to Donald Trump now with the Republicans in control of one house and the presidency. When the Democrats take back the Senate and take back the presidency the next time, Americans will get locked up by the thousands. You want to say Trump is a fascist and Republicans are the fascists? The internment camps are coming, folks, and they're coming for you as a conservative and you as an independent. They're coming. And God help us if the Democrats get control again.
I'd like to see Trump pardon Stone just right now to say, you know what, screw this. You're pardoned. Of course, it'll look horrible, but how much more horrible can they paint Donald Trump than they paint him now?
Yeah,
exactly. And if Hillary Clinton had won and she was president right now, you and Dave Janda and Alex Jones and me, we'd all be in prison.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, what if Trump was to pardon, knowing that she's never going to get prosecuted, pardon Hillary Clinton, and she was forced to accept it? It'd be a de facto statement of guilt by her. Oh, man. You heard it here first, folks.
When they were in New York at some dinner or something, they were both there, and he said, Hillary bumped into me in the hallway, and she said, pardon me, and he says, oh, you'll have to wait till I become president.
Yeah. But no, think about that. If he were to just pardon her, knowing that nothing's ever going to come of it anyhow, it would just make her look badder than she does now.
Wow. Pretty great. Well, you've got to have an indictment against you, I think, don't you?
No, not really. Yeah. Nixon didn't have an indictment. He just got pardoned for everything he might have done.
Huh, interesting. Okay, Jimmy.
In other words, they killed the investigation.
Yes, exactly.
Is what Gerald Ford did.
Mm-hmm.
And he should have let it go on, because more and more of that would have come out, and it would have been damning on both sides.
Well, we'd have found out that J. Gordon Liddy was at the Degrassi Knoll.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know. That guy's bald, man. I mean, you would have seen the flash on top of his head.
Yes. All right. Well, great call, Jimmy. I appreciate it.
Have a good day.
You too. Take care. All right. So, Derek, you got track 2 ready there, and this is Alan Dershowitz continuing on what the indictment means for Roger Stone. Go ahead.
The second is whether or not Stone has been indicted in order to squeeze him into testifying. As Judge Ellis, who presided over the Manafort case, said, the object of these arrests is not to get people like Manafort or people like Stone. It's to get them to sing and perhaps even to compose, to create guilt allegations against the real target here, the president. So the president should be worried every time somebody who he knew or had any acquaintance with is arrested, because according to Judge Ellis, the purpose of these arrests is not to get that person, but to get that person to provide information or testimony against the real target, the president. That's the tactic Mueller has used from day one. As a civil libertarian, it's a very disturbing tactic. It's all too common among prosecutors, but it's very disturbing. What prosecutors do all the time is they threaten people. They say, if you don't testify, we're going to put you in jail, your family in jail.
You know, that explains what Stone was saying in numerous interviews, was that I am not going to fabricate something to get myself out of this.
Yeah. I completely understand. Yeah. Okay, so let's take are we done? Do you want to move on from Stone?
From Stone, yeah, I'm okay with Stone.
Okay, so other big news this week?
Well, you know, Stone and Cohen were interrelated, and the question was whether Cohen was going to testify before Congress, right? Yeah. And all I could think of was Tommy Flanagan from the Pathological Liars. So he was a member. No, president. Yeah, the president. That's the ticket of the Pathological Liars, and that's what I'm thinking of Cohen. You know, Cohen's already admitted to lying to Congress, and these idiot Democrats want to get him back so he can lie some more. Just as long as he lies the way they want him to, because that's a guy who will make it up to get himself out of trouble, like Dershowitz was saying.
Yes, that's exactly right. Well, and that's happening across the country, right? It really is. Okay, so let's move on, and we've got Jasmine from Chicago wants to talk about...
she's freezing.
It's got to be cold there right now. She wants to talk about the abortion legislation in New York this week. Jasmine, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys.
How you doing? You're not happy with the Democrats in New York now aborting babies right up to the 9-month mark?
I'm not happy with the Democrats, period. But since, you're making me categorize here, I think that is the most disgusting, the most immoral, illogical, whatever you want to call it, that Cuomo did. I mean, to murder an innocent baby at term.
Yeah.
Instead of, I've seen so many people online this morning talking about if the baby's at full term, why not have it and then give it up for abortion? What is the point of a woman going through the whole thing and then killing it?